Is polyamory evil? First, I think we have to define the word evil. I've been struggling with this one a lot lately, as I don't think the word means what it means. We all know that's a word that everyone knows what it means. It hasn't been changed in any way, like society changing, whatever, literally. All these words have kind of just been diluted or changed. Evil is one of those words that people know what it is. That's actually a really good way of looking at it. I just came off the top of my head as far as because that seems to be the case. I do believe it exists, and I'll just preface really quick with how I look at evil. So I think it's important to define evil, and I think when certain people, let's say a person who doesn't believe in evil, they go, I don't believe in the supernatural, I'm atheist, whatever it is, and they're, one of the science, like hardline science people, which is great, but it denies energy. It denies things that, like vibration. There's things beside. We are not ones and zeros as human beings. We have emotions, and we have certain things that I would argue are God-given, quote unquote. Things like, your, like, again, your intent, not intent, but like what you are beyond everything. Like there's a soul in a human being, and there's energy, and just because you can't measure it, it exists. And that's why I always say God begins with intuition, and that's sometimes that's why it's faith. You're choosing something. It's a wrong framing. It's almost like the political battle. It's like no one can have a discussion unless we agree on what we're even talking about. And so that's why I want to preface this with defining evil before we're talking about it, and before posing the question. And so let me try and breadcrumb back to where I was at. So that's like the atheist. They can't measure it. I don't believe in evil. It's supernatural. And I feel like it's conflated with that notion of, like, there's red herrings or scapegoat. I forget the term, but when you're basically throwing the baby out with the bathwater because, there's some guy that just goes, evil made him do that, and then people look at that as like you're giving it, a shooting or something. You're giving that person an excuse from their actions. Which is objectively true, but it's conflated with the notion of something that is immeasurable, and, like, for example, I think like there's like a space between when you have a thought and a decision is made in an action, and evil is like right in that middle ground. Like that's your brain thinking about doing something. The act is you doing it, but that thing, that the in between, like there's like a vibration to that, and there's energy within. So I don't think I did the best job of describing evil, but so I'm really trying to show, like again, like how I look at politics. Like people are conflating two different things, and like making an example, like straw man, I guess is what it's called, and I guess on both sides, you don't want the extremes, but I do believe in evil, and to summarize evil, it's a vibration. I believe evil ultimately is like a virus. It's darkness. Evil, violence begets violence, it can, and the light is the choice and the decision to see what it is and to not choose to go down that road. And evil is a weakness. It's weakness at the end of the day. It can't manifest. Weakness can manifest as evil. And so here we are. Someone's gonna post the comments. Video starts at 5 minutes. So is polyamory evil? Well, does it? You know, for people that want to be so objective, and I would argue a lot of or left-leaning, less faith-based people are in the poly culture, and for people who want to be so objective, it's interesting to me that those same people choose not to look at objective data when it comes down to things like that. And that's weakness. I.e., there's a lot of stats and stuff coming out. I mean, it's no wonder, people with really bad childhoods and a lot of mental health issues, whether neurological or environment based, are leaning into poly, and there's a very high correlation with poly and kink culture. And when you talk about kink and that kind of stuff, there's a degree of pathology in there. I don't care what the DSM says. I've seen things. I tend to explore at the extremes, and I used to justify it with thinking that's where you find the truth, and now I know that's not. Self-preservation and balance is what's most important. But anyway, I take things on extreme levels to try and find truth, and at least that was my rationale, and I took that notion, I took that, I wanted to show people. I don't know why I do it to myself, but I've always been happy destroying myself to make a point. And often people don't see what I'm doing, but that's, I guess, why I'm here making videos, because I have gained knowledge from experience, and I think it's a net negative. I don't believe most people that are, this is the bottom line with polyamory to me, is I don't believe that the vast majority of people that are participating in that and choosing to have a poly lifestyle, this is just what I've observed, and this is my gut. I don't believe that the individuals that are choosing to participate and identify as poly are mature. They are not mature emotionally, intellectually. There's something missing. I think it's cope. I think it's weak. I think it's cowardly. I think it's greedy. And again, I'm talking excuse me. Talking from experience, what I see, what I've done, and I was all of those things. I'm not talking out of my ass here. It's just something people don't want to say because you're not supposed to, right? It's and then you're like, oh, it didn't work for you, and then you can't just be like, I'm done with this, and I don't believe it, and people don't want to stand up for they just, yeah. It's not a coincidence that everyone I know that was doing it is now not doing it. No one, and they just disappeared. No social media. It was it was demonic. I don't know. There's no other description. I don't know how else to describe social media validation, poly, all this, it's superficial, greedy, narcissistic. It's all bad. I don't know how you can. That's a pentagram. That's it's literally bad. It's like a frickin' hedonistic. What is it? The hedonistic crap. And yeah, I just don't think it works. I know it doesn't work long term. It's, I guess they talk about monkeys and their testicles like being like 1/4 the size of, or like a certain, like ours are like 4 times larger than any other like mammal or something, presuming that we like, it comes from our poly nature as, thousands of years ago. And this is inevitably comes into religion, and then how we became an evolved species, and how religion had a part in that, or whether or not it did. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious it did, but we just have evolved, and it's one of those things, right? It's like it's a free country, you can do what you want. I just don't think I don't think it's worth it. That might be a better way to say it. Is poly worth it? No. It's poly evil? Anything can be evil. And in 2025, and I have a bias, of course, but if evil is how I define it and how you agree with that definition, then I guess it would be. And it really became an excuse for people to be a piece of shit. I'm poly, so you cheat and you lie and you're a piece of shit. Okay, cool. I guess, yeah, you're poly. But I guess that says more about the individual than the idea. So this is me already backtracking in my mind. I have very strong views loosely held. That is how I work. As I'm talking, I'm going backwards about poly. That's my biases talking. There are people that can do it. This is just a warning, though. Like, I don't think both, to the extent, like, and here's another position. In a world that is struggling so much right now with, a world meaning America, so much with keep relationships staying together, why would people want to, and that's why I would argue people stop doing it. Like, life's hard enough. And people are doing poly thing. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Is poly evil? Maybe. I'll backtrack. Maybe it can be, and it can lead to bad things. It can lead to a lot. It's a temptation. Some people aren't good with moderation, aren't good with boundaries. I mean, and that's kind of my argument against it. Is I don't, how many healthy people are doing that? Wouldn't they just be in a monogamous relationship? I don't. It's risky. It's risky. It's risky for your soul. Yeah, it doesn't facilitate a very good structure with family too. That's another thing that kind of makes it, yeah, not the best. Anyway, it's polyamory. Have a good one.